Alright, we're going to take a look to see how this lab, 5-minute code lab 5A, introduction to for loops, is going to work. So let's take a look at our requirements, or actually for problem number 1. What we're going to do then is we're going to create a program utilizing a for loop to print out numbers from 1 to 5. The for loop is going to contain a list of numbers of here, and this is going to be what we call a list. And a list, as we get through some other topics, eventually we get to that list topic, is going to start and end in brackets. So we're going to take a look to see what is involved with the coding aspect. And what I've done over here is I highlighted the stuff that you need to create. So anywhere where we have the word create, we're going to be writing some code here. So let's take a look at this portion here. So create a list of numbers. So what we're going to do is come back over here and create a list of numbers. So this is going to be our syntax. And real quick again, we're creating a variable called list1, and this is utilizing what we call a list. Down the line, again, we'll look at lists. Alright, next line here, we're going to create a statement with the code that's going to do a header with a equal sign. So our syntax will look something along like this. And then a printing out the list, so create a statement to print the list. So this particular statement is something along those lines of this. So simply we're printing out what the variable is, just like what we did with before, and that's just printing a list. So that would be something along the lines of this. Next one here, we're going to identify the variable data type of what is list. So here we'll just enter this. So print data type of list is going to be type list, because remember the keyword type is going to identify the data type. And then next one here, we're going to create a single statement to print a row of equal signs. So that is going to look like this. And identifying the loop. Here we're going to create a header statement of what the program is going to do. And next one here, this is where we start creating our for loop. So create a for loop to print the items that are in the list. And our code is going to look like this. So again, this is just a variable that's keeping track of an item that we're printing in a list, and we're going to print out I. So our list, if we scroll back up here, was 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's basically what we'll print. So let's go ahead and run the code, and let's take a look to see what happens here. So the first thing it's doing here is printing out the contents of the list, which we specified in this particular segment of code. So this is this segment right there. And then here the data type of the list is type list. No surprise. Again, we'll get into that topic in the next coming weeks. So this is the statement that printed that out. And then here we have the actual for loop that's actually printing out the numbers 1 through 5. And that is this particular code to do this output. Now, since this is just a straight list of numbers 1 through 5, we could also change this to utilize a range. And the way we would do this is by utilizing keyword range. And we're going to start out with 1. We're going to go up to 5 and print out the number. So now when we run the code, let me clear the screen and let's run the code. Well, we got a little issue here. So it did what it's supposed to do, but it ended up printing out numbers from 1 to 4. If you remember how the range works, this is our starting value, this is our ending value. It goes up to, but not including that particular number. So that's why it ended up printing out numbers 1 through 4. So to do this, we need to change this value to 6. So one higher. Let's go ahead and clear the screen and run the code again. So since we have a sequence of numbers, we could utilize this range as well to print that. All right, cool. All right, take a look at problem number 2. So problem number 2 is we're going to, again, create a list, but this time we're going to be utilizing a set of strings in a list. We're going to use the loop to output the color and include the comments in our code. I already outlined all the comments. And let's take a look how the code will look. It's just about a copy and paste to what was done earlier, except we have slightly different syntax here. So create a list. We're going to write this particular statement. So again, I'm utilizing a variable called colors. And this again is our list because it's starting out with the square brackets. We're going to create a header statement. And once again, the header statement will look like this. So this is our print statement, so print colors. Next line, we're going to create 2 new lines. So our syntax is going to be print, and then here are our escape characters. We're going to identify the data type, and our syntax is going to be print data type, and same thing, we're utilizing the keyword type to identify what type of variable it is. And once again, we're doing some additional extra lines there. We're going to create our header for our loop, introduction header, and then down below here is going to be our actual loop of what we're going to be performing. So once again, here I'm utilizing this. It could have been X, Y. It really could have been anything here because what it's doing is cycling, which happens to be the colors here, and then it's going to print out the information. And then we'll end it with that our code has been completed. And run the code. Let me clear the screen here and we'll run the code. So once again, these are the items that are displayed in the list. This variable that we are utilizing is a type list. And now down below, it printed out the items in that particular list. All right, so that is all that is to it for this particular lab.